going to be doing some girth prep with Castor, and so he's already been desensitized to the rope. He's not afraid of the rope. This is just kind of taking it one step further. I'm going to do a lot more rope movements, like here, like I'm kind of tossing it up and over, so he sees a lot more movement, and he kind of got a little tight there, so he's a little bit worried about that. So I just clicked while that rope was moving, and then I'm going to go ahead and feed him. So it's just a lot more rope movement, get him used to that, and then I'm going to start putting the rope up underneath his belly and start preparing him for a girth. So that's just going to be my next order of exercises. So he gets used to the lead rope like you've seen previously with that basic desensitizing. Then I do this, and then I start using the rope as a girth, which you'll see here in a minute, and then I start actually introducing like the surcingle. So I use that mounting block kind of as a little block there to kind of get the rope. You can use a stick to kind of pull it underneath the horse's belly if you think they might kick you, something like that. But I'm just kind of moving the rope around. So depending on your horse, you might have to do a lot more desensitizing at this point. Cat or Atlas didn't like this at all, and you'll see that in his videos. Very different, completely opposite of Castor. So Castor's a lot more tolerant of these things. He really enjoys being petted. He's a lot different horse. He's just completely opposite. So just take that into account. You might not be able to do this right away. This is Castor's training diary, and this is what I could do with him at the time. So then after I kind of move it around, I just put a little bit of pressure, and then I want to click while that rope is kind of taut. And you don't want to put a ton of pressure on there, just a little bit. And then I want to kind of have that rope go down on his above his hocks and then kind of move around. So you could see there, like I kind of just moved on to the next thing really quickly. You definitely could spend a lot more time breaking down each one of those parts, which you will see with Atlas, because I had to break down each one of those because he was not a fan of the rope. Castor is pretty chill with it, so I could kind of do like a quick little breeze through. I mean, there were times like probably with the girth prep that I'm going to slow down and do more in detail with, and then like add a little bit more pressure before I start introducing the surcingle and the girth and everything like that. But at this point, I just was doing like a quick little run through. So I'm just going to ask him to go on the other side. He's leading off of that rope pressure really nicely. I like that, and I like just where he is with the rope desensitizing in general. Like he's pretty chill with it. So again, I want to kind of toss it up over his back and over his hips here, and just like have a big exaggerated toss of the rope more than usual. Um, and then I want to get ready to I kind of give it a big swing so I can kind of almost catch it underneath him. If not, like you can kind of grab underneath or like use a stick or a whip to kind of pull it towards you. Castor was pretty cool with that. And then I can kind of do a bit more desensitizing with both of the ropes here. And I like that his head's kind of bent toward me a little bit. He's just kind of curious about what I'm doing. And you want to make sure that you're not pulling on their halter rope too. Make sure there's enough slack there so that while you're moving and desensitizing, you're not pulling on the horse's face. You don't want this to be a pressure situation for him. You just want him to get used to the lead rope. You don't want to be pulling on him and you wondering why he's backing up or something like that. So this looks really nice. I'm just kind of moving it all over, getting him used to feeling that rope underneath his belly. And kind of, I start at the belly and then kind of work my way back toward his hind legs, so he's on his flank there, and that's just a sensitive part on all horses, so you gotta be careful with that. But then I'm gonna just kind of squeeze up the rope a little tiny bit. I'm not doing a lot of pressure, I'm just doing a little bit, and then I clicked and fed there. And then I'll do that same thing, kind of just going a little ways down toward his flank, like right there. And then I clicked while I put just a little bit of pressure, and you kind of have to gauge that. So how sensitive is your horse with the other work? How sensitive are they in general? How do they feel about ropes? Things like that. And then you can kind of gauge the pressure. Always start low, but that load is depending on your horse. So you don't want to get crazy and just yank it up, because you don't want that ever, even if you're girthing up. But you do want to just do it in baby steps so that girthing is a positive experience and not a negative one, because it can turn like that really quickly. And then I kind of toss the rope over his hindquarters and like kind of around his hocks here and just let it kind of swing around. That looks fantastic. I like where his neck is at and his head is at. He's just chewing his treat and hanging out. And I like that I kind of got that rope to kind of bump against his flank, and he looks pretty relaxed. So that looks pretty good for me to move on to the next step with him and with the girthing and everything. So I really like all of that. I'm going to do a little bit more lead rope desensitizing with his head. Again, Atlas didn't like this. Caster was pretty straightforward. Like, he just let me do it. So again, if you need to see like more step-by-step, look at Atlas's videos when I do this with him. But this is like a finished product thing with Caster, so it's like a good example of that.